This is the Babylock cover stitch machine, model BLCS-2, and this is the guide, the reference guide. I'm going to be working from pages 13 through 15, where it shows you how to thread this machine. And what I like about this book is it's color coded, so it's easy to follow the threads through the guides. I'm not going to show you every step in the book. I'm going to just do it myself, but I just wanted you to be aware of this guide. It comes with your machine, and what I find invaluable is the back. This chart in the back is a chart for stitch selection settings. Depending on what stitch you want, I generally do the 3 thread, which is 2 needles and the chain looper. That's what I generally do for knits. So you have the 4 thread, which uses all 3 needles. You have C1, C2, C3 needles, or the 3 thread, which only uses 2 needles and the chain looper. You could use C1 and C2, C2 and C3, or C1 and C3, and that's the widest 2 stitch. It tells you right here they're 3 millimeters wide or 6 millimeters wide. Generally, I do the 3 thread, C1, C2, and the chain looper. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you today. Okay, I hope that wasn't too much, but I'll simplify it for you. What you have here are the 3 colors, orange, yellow, and green. And these are the tension dials for the thread. So, and then you have the 3 needles that follow. Let me zoom in on that so you can see the needles here from left to right, C1, C2, and C3. For this demonstration, I'm going to be doing C1 and C2, these 2 needles, which is a 3 millimeter width stitch, and that's what I generally do 90% of the time on all my knits. Now, if you want a wider gap between the 2 rows of stitches, you could do C1 and C3. Okay, so let's start with that. I'm doing the 2 needles and the chain looper. On this machine, this blue dial is the thread tension for the chain looper. Orange is for the thread tension for C1, yellow is the thread tension for C2, and green is the thread tension for C3. And I generally keep it at 4, but you want to test your tension when you're stitching it out on your knit fabric or any fabric. Then you have this compartment here. Now this compartment is for the chain looper and to engage the air threading, so you could thread the chain looper here. What you do is you slide it to the right and bring it forward to open it, and you'll notice there's this button here and this bar, and to thread the chain looper and engage the air threading, we need to press this button in and have this bar to the left. So while you're pressing this button in, you need to bring the hand wheel forward, crank it forward, and there it goes to the right. So the air threading is now active. Now that the air threading is engaged, we're going to thread the looper. And here we have this antenna for the threads. So the looper is going to go through this one. These 3 are for the needles, C1, C2, and C3. And C stands for cover stitch needle. That's how they refer to them. So I'm going to raise the thread antennas. They go up all the way up here. And this is for the looper, the thread for the looper. So I have this thread here. I got this at Hobby Lobby. It says $4.99, but it's on sale always for $1.99. I don't have any problem with it. I really like this thread. I got white, black, gray, tan. I mean, I like it. So you just put it on here and you go to the antenna top here. I wonder if I got it. There we go. Bring it down. And then I'm going to feed this looper thread in this hole here. There's a hole here next to the tension dial. You can see that. And I'm going to put the camera down so I can show you exactly what you do next. After you thread this through the thread guide, the next step is to grab the thread and feed it under the thread tension dial and bring it up till you feel resistance and it clicks and you have a sliding. It's behind this metal guide now. And then you get the thread and you're going to thread it in the threading port. There's a port here, a little hole, and you put it right in there as much as you can, maybe an inch or so that I like to do. And at this point I'm going to feed a little more, keep going, and I'm going to bring this lever right here. This is the air threading lever right here that you use, and you press it in. Now I'll pull a little more thread, and I just keep doing that just for make sure I really thread it. It's in there. And to check the success of this threading, make sure you have it threaded. There's a compartment on the left that you open up, and in there there's a little box, and that box has the thread. Let me show you up close. Thread is hard to see, so I'll show you here. I got the tweezers. There's the thread, and it's supposed to be in this little box right here. Okay? It's hard to see because it's black. I'm going to put it back in there. And then you shut this again, and it should be threaded. You lock it by bringing this metal bar that you brought to the left. You want to bring it to the right. Okay? And then you close this, and the looper is threaded. Now we're going to thread the needles. I will be threading the needles from left to right. My needles will be the orange and the yellow, C1, C2. So I have the cone of thread here that I'm going to put on the cone here. And the first thing I want to do is put the thread through the antenna guide up at the top. All right, and then come down. And there's another guide where the thread's going to go, and it's going to click. It's going to make a clicking sound like that. Okay, so it's in there, and then there's a hole. Let me zoom you in on that, if I could. There's that guide here, and then this is the hole. This is the orange hole at the top. As you can see, there's a yellow hole for C2. So I'm going to feed the thread through this hole next. All right, and then I pull it. I'm going to put the camera down, and then I grab the thread underneath the tension dial. It's a little resistance, and then it'll loosen up. And bring it over to this plastic guide, and then over this metal guide. And here we are at this other guide here. This goes behind, and you bring it up front so it's locked in, because you want a nice tight stitch. Okay, that's in there. Then you have this metal guide right here, so it's behind there. And the last thing I have to do is thread the needle. Bring that in. And you thread it through the left needle, just like that. Okay, raise this up, loosen that. Okay, so the left needle's threaded. Next, let's go to the yellow now. Now I'm going to thread the second needle, which is in the center, and I'm going to be using the yellow for the guide. It's almost identical to how we threaded the orange one, C1, C2 with a slight variation. So we start off the same, threading it through the antenna guide at the top. So I put my thread cone here, and then feed it through the antenna guide. Then the thread goes down to the yellow guide. I'm going to zoom in on that. See if you can see it here. And you want it like dental floss. You have with 2 fingers, you hold it like this, and you feed it through this yellow guide, and it snaps. And then there's a hole here, a yellow hole right here. Should be able to see that with black thread. Feed it down, and then you bring it around the yellow tension thread guide right here. Okay? You do the same thing, wait till it's loose again because there's a little resistance. And then there's a little metal guide under here that you didn't do with the orange one, but you will do with the yellow. And if you choose the third needle, you do the same thing. You would put it under this metal guide. All right? And then up and around this plastic piece here. Okay? Like you did the first one. And then this metal guide. And down, and this time this is going to go in the middle of this guide here. It's a little tricky to get in there, but you want to floss it in so that it gets in behind this guide. So it's behind this guide here, right here, and then behind this metal guide again, and then thread the needle. Let me clip it so it's a little shorter. And then you thread this middle needle. It's a little tricky. I just pulled it. There we go. Be sure this is behind the thread guide right here. I lift the presser foot, and now these two needles are threaded and the looper needle is threaded. Now we're going to test the stitch. I'm going to use this coral knit to test this stitch. And what you want to do is to adjust these tension dials. Now, according to the guide, generally speaking, you want the needles to be from 4 to 6 in tension, and the chain looper between 1 and 2. So, depending on the fabric that you choose, it's going to vary. But I always test the stitch on a sample piece of fabric of the garment I'm sewing before I stitch it out. And I picked this, and let's go from here. What I do is, let's see, the tension dials for these 3 threads for this particular garment, I set the needle tensions at 3 and the chain looper here is at 1.5. So that, that's optimal. I've already made the dress with this setup, but I'm just demonstrating it for you now. So we're going to drop the needles. Bring the hand wheel towards you, put down this presser foot, and stitch. Let me zoom in here. Hopefully you can see that better. I'm gonna follow guide. There's all these guides here. And I have an attachment guide also that I use. It's not required for this, but that's what these holes are for up front. Right here, there's these holes. You can screw in an attachment. For now, I don't need that. So let's stitch. Okay. Now, to complete and lock in the stitch, what you want to do is raise the needles, bring the wheel towards you, raise the presser foot. And then I have this tool. You can use a seam ripper, you can use tweezers. This came with the Coverstitch. It's in the little toolbox here. And what I do is I lift the lip of the foot and bring the threads forward underneath the foot and just bring both threads, both needle threads forward like that. And then I get my clippers and I just clip the thread. Okay? And next, I pull this away from behind and you're left with the looper thread, so you just cut that and you're done. And this is the result. Hopefully you can see that. Looks pretty good. You can adjust the tension if you want. You can adjust the stitch length. Down here, this is the stitch length. And just make the stitch suit your needs. And again, just a reminder, oh, here's the back. Looks wonderful. Look at that. That's perfect. I'm also going to try it on this lightweight jersey knit. So again, you put this under the presser foot, and you can drop the press foot or the needles. It doesn't matter which you do first. So the needle's in, the presser foot's down, and now I'm going to stitch. Alright. Again, you want to raise the needles up, lift the presser foot, and I get my tool, and I'm going to lift the lip of the presser foot and bring the 2 needle threads forward. Get under there. Okay. I like them long so I don't have to rethread the needles. Then I clip them. And then I pull this from behind and then clip the looper thread. And there you go. There's the cover stitch of the jersey knit. And the back looks great. Oop. That's exactly the way I want it. And there you got your hem or border, whatever you want. Just a reminder, I always thread the chain looper first, then I go from left to right and thread the needles one at a time. I used the 2 needles, C1 and C2, for this stitch. Now if I wanted this to be wider, a 6mm width, all I would do is take out this needle, put it on the right, and then I don't believe I even need to thread the green one for that to work. I believe you could still use this yellow thread in the right needle. That's what I've heard other people say. I haven't done it because I never make the stitch that wide. You could test it out. But that's the demonstration of the Babylock cover stitch on how to set it up and thread it. It's very easy. It's not complicated. If you have any questions, you could drop me a comment or send an email to solovely with grace@gmail.com and I'll be happy to assist you.